Wherever you're listening in the world, it's a pleasure to welcome you to IsraelCast, the podcast powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. I'm Stephen Shalowitz, first reminding you that for over 120 years, Jewish National Fund USA has been the premier philanthropic movement for the land and people of Israel. While best known for planting trees in Israel, JNF USA contributes to Israeli life in so many ways, including community development in the Negev and the Galilee, preservation of heritage sites, supporting people with disabilities, connecting high school and college students to Israel, and helping our brothers and sisters in need following the heinous October 7th terrorist attack. To learn more and to see how you can contribute, do visit jnf.org. Once again, jnf.org. Plus, if you haven't done so already, we'd love it if you subscribe, rated, and reviewed us. 5 stars, of course. Wherever you get your podcast, it's so easy, and we'd love it too if you shared the show within your orbit. We're also on YouTube, so do check us out there. Just search for IsraelCast on YouTube. All right, our featured guest on this episode of the show is Alon. He's one of those guests where it would take me the whole episode to share his many awards and accolades, because you see, Alon is an acclaimed Israeli professional stock car racing driver. He's a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series and made history as the first Israeli to compete in both an IndyCar sanctioned series and one of NASCAR's top 3 touring series. He's a Formula Renault Asian champion, was named Israel Athlete of the Year in 2016, and a whole lot more, which I'm sure he'll share with us in our conversation, which begins right now as Alon joins us on the line via Zoom from, of all places, Morrisville, North Carolina. Alon, great to meet you and welcome to IsraelCast.
Yeah, great to meet you too. Thank you very much for having me.
So before we started rolling, I said engines ready, and you said full throttle. So we're going to go full throttle on this episode and in our conversation. Once again, thanks for joining us. First off, what brings you to the United States?
Basically racing, as always. Brings me everywhere around the world. But here it's racing. I'm going to race. I did already 1 race in NASCAR, and I'm going to have another 4 races coming up. The next one is going to be actually next weekend in Sonoma, and I'm very happy and very grateful also for the opportunity that I have to race, like the sponsor JSSI gave me, and I'm able, to race here in American soil, which is the biggest things for me.
Fantastic. And we should share with our wonderful audience that we're recording this episode on Tuesday, the 8th of July, and we're going to be releasing it on, if all goes to plan, Alon, we're releasing it on Wednesday, the 6th of August, just to give context, because you also have a race coming up, you told me, I believe in upstate New York on, is it August 8th?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so people can definitely see you in action up there in upstate.
More than welcome.
In upstate New York. And we're also going to be talking about your sponsor in just a second, because you just referenced him. But to get to the United States, I understand you had, as we say, a rather harrowing experience getting here. Share it with our audience.
So the original plan was to arrive to America on June 16. It is 10 days before the first race I had in Connecticut, in Lime Rock, Connecticut. I was already so well prepared, and you need to understand that racing in America, you just mentioned a lot of my racing career, but racing in America for me is like, not only for me, but for a lot of drivers, it's like the top of the top. Like if I compare it to basketball, it's like playing the EuroLeague in Europe, and then you have the NBA. So that's a different level. So the opportunity to race here in America it's a huge opportunity for me. And I prepared myself and I planned everything in advance, month in advance, to be as prepared as possible for this opportunity. And I was supposed to come here on June 16. And I think it was June 7th, 3 o'clock at night, when I was sleeping in bed with my wife, and we heard the siren, and we woke up. We thought it's like, all right, that's another missiles from Yemen, ballistics missile from Yemen. And then we looked at our phone. It's like, yeah, Israel just attacked in Iran, and be prepared to probably stay in the shelter for unknown until we will tell you to go out. And I realized it might gonna be very difficult, if not impossible to get out of Israel because immediately the airspace was closed completely. And full, the reserve to the military, and everybody was like, Israel was in panic, even though we felt kind of like euphoria when we attacked Iran. And I feel like, as an Israeli who lived there, I feel like we did amazing things during this war. But still, I mean, there is a kind of like panic that you're in a war. So I try to look for any option, any option to get out of Israel, because I knew that this might gonna be the best shot I will have in America. JSSI, Neil Book gave me really
That's your
the best
sponsor.
opportunity. Yeah, my sponsor, the best opportunity for the first time. I'm not driving for a mid-tier team. I'm actually driving for a top team that usually win races. So I knew this is probably my only opportunity to like really show what I'm capable of in America. I won in Europe many times. I won in Asia. I won in all over the world, but I haven't won in America, and this is like a goal that I want to achieve. Um, so I couldn't give up on that. I was like, it doesn't matter. I will walk. I will swim. I'll go on a camel. I will do whatever I need to race. So I was looking for the options to go either through Jordan, through Oman, or through Egypt. Um, and as an Israeli, it's not the most comfortable, not the safest way. Let's put it this way. And I was looking for other options, go either on a cargo ship to Cairo, or I had some crazy ideas that people try to help me. And everybody, also Neil Book, try to help me to find some solutions to get out. And then on the 16th of June in the morning, I was already kind of like, right, it is what it is. Maybe I shouldn't go. I start to kind of like accept it. And then in the morning of June 16, I got a phone call in the morning. Hey, there is a boat, 40-foot boat, leaving from Israel, from Ashdod, from my hometown, to Cyprus. You want to join? Like, sure. I didn't even thought about it. I was like, I look at my wife and like, what do you think? And she said like, go. She knew how big this opportunity is for me, and I have a lot of credit for her for what she went through when I wasn't there. And she just said, "Go, just go. Don't think too much. Let
And
me
we
help you
should
back."
we should add that your wife is also expecting your first child.
Yeah, I mean, my wife is pregnant, but she still. I mean, she was a sports journalist and she was a news anchor. She know like how we met through sports. Like she know how big is my the opportunity that I got. And again, I have a lot of credit to my wife. I mean, she's awesome for what she's doing for me.
And what's her name?
Um, Gil, Gil Levin. So she helped me pack really quick. We went to the dock on the marine. It was kind of like emotional. I felt like Second World War soldiers going on a small boat and waving to my wife on the dock, kiss her goodbye. While I know it's going to be a long journey, it's probably going to be about 27 to 32 hours to Cyprus. And I didn't plan anything because I don't know. I mean, you never know what will happen. So I didn't plan the next flights or anything. I was like, I just need to get out first of all. Um, and man, that was a rough trip. That was
How so?
that was the sea at that day. I felt like it was like huge sea waves. You couldn't even look at your phone, like for 30 hours. You couldn't do anything besides looking on the horizon. Once you look down, you feel like you need to throw up. And that was a hell of a trip. But and more than that, I mean, you are in the middle of the sea, in between Israel and Cyprus, no signal, nothing. You are totally disconnected from the world. Um, in the middle of the night, and then suddenly you start seeing from the sky, it's like tons of ballistic missiles falling on Israel. I'm talking about from the sea between Israel and Cyprus. Now I know my wife is there, my family is there, and I have no way to, to check with them what's going on. Are they okay? And you can see them, bam, 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 the missiles falling. And on the other hand, you can see the Iron Dome and all those missiles that the American thought they're trying to intercept those missiles. It was like a Star Wars. But it was so you know, such a strange feeling, you are unable to do anything. You just sit there, look at that, and you know that you cannot do anything. Um, and yeah, and then I arrived to Cyprus after 30 hours. I arrived to Cyprus. Even when I came on the ground, it took me like 7 hours for the ground to stop moving. I felt like so dizzy.
Did you kiss the
Um,
ground once you got there?
yeah, man, what a trip. Every time I think about it, about, oh my God, what a trip. Um, and yeah, and from there I flew to Athens, and from Athens to JFK, and from JFK to North Carolina. In total, it was 66 hours, um, but I made it. I
And
made it.
that's what counts.
Yeah, that's what.
Your perseverance paid off, and also the blessings from your wonderful wife.
Yeah, and
Indeed.
it was a rough trip. A lot of people also here in the NASCAR industry and everybody like appreciating what I went through and asking a lot of questions about that. But you need to put that in perspective. You said what day the day today. We just woke up, 7 soldiers die, and we still have hostages, and we still have a lot of people lost their houses, people lost their family, people lost some. So who I am to complain about 66 hours trip? I'm that small. At the end of the day, it gives you kind of like perspective of where you are and appreciate life a bit more, and you know how big is the situation we are going through. I mean, people are 641 days in the tunnels in Gaza. So who I am to complain, I'm just very glad that I made it here. And again, I'm
Right.
thankful for that.
Absolutely. And in just a moment, I want to talk about how you're keeping hostages top of mind for those in the racing community. But before we get to that, I'm just really curious, Alon, how did you get into racing in the first place? I was reading somewhere where you got a go-kart. Is that right? For your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, it was before that actually, from video games. I was a big video game junkie until up to this day. Like I love video games. I think this is a great way of a kid to develop himself.
Mhm.
And at that time, I used to play a lot of simulators games, like racing games. And I'm very happy that my dad was figuring it out really quick and went with me and helped me to get into these sports. As you know, as you just mentioned, he bought me a go-kart to my bar mitzvah, my first professional go-kart, and I started racing in Israel, and then I went to Europe to racing go-karts. And this is because go-karts is the first steps in racing. So if you want you can check any race car driver.
Mhm.
Go-kart is the first level, and then you climb the ladder. Um, so yeah, I'm very that was the way, but the initial way was video games.
And were your parents then supportive all throughout of the career choice that you made? I mean, in other words,
Yeah.
did they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant?
No, no. My parents realized. I mean, I had success also at the beginning of my career, so I think that's kind of like fuel the whole story. But my parents and my family supported, fully support. Without that, I don't think any athlete can succeed.
Because you
If I put it, without my dad being there and support me my whole career, I mean, up to this day, I wouldn't be able to do anything. And this is so important, like the support of the family for the success of the athlete himself. I mean, this is like a huge factor.
because you also, if I understand correctly, were contemplating a career with the IDF.
Yeah, and this is something you cannot give up on. At the IDF, I had to choose. Every Israeli kid, teenager, get to this point in his life. when you had to choose military or professional sports. You cannot give up on the military, you must, but there is like a kind of like program, specific program for athletes that
Mhm.
you can go to the military, but they let you train, they let you fly to your races, to do whatever, but you still wake up every morning and you go to the base. You cannot give up on that. They will never let you out. Um, and that's the duty of every Israeli. I mean, this is something that you accept. But at the beginning, when I was 16, 17, I also, it's kind of like a social thing. You go to your class in high school and, hey, what did you got for the military test? Like what tests you got? Somebody is like got to be a fighter pilot. Some guy got to be a commando soldier. Um, so I tried to go to each test that I had the opportunity, and I remember that I went the test. I passed the test to be a fighter pilot, and I had to choose like the fighter pilot course, of course, and I had to choose between racing and military and fighter pilot. But I chose racing.
Right. And it's worked out for you ever since, clearly. Well, I want to talk about your car and how you're keeping the hostages top of mind. And I understand that this is very personal for you, not only because you're an Israeli, but also because you lived in Kfar Aza, which was brutally, brutally hit.
Yeah. Um, I think this is kind of like the thing that started everything. After I won my first European championship, NASCAR championship, uh, I wanted to live in a kind of like quiet place.
Mhm.
Um, and at that time, Kfar Aza was like the perfect place for me. Like y- people need to understand, Kfar Aza was like a small kibbutz. All right, it's next to the border, but you don't really feel that 2017. It was very nature, good people, very quiet, and this is the type of person who I am, and I felt like this is the fit me in an amazing way. So I moved to Kfar Aza for like a year and a half, and I live there in the same neighborhood. It's called like the young neighborhood, the brutally, as you mentioned, brutally heated by Hamas. Um, and this is the same neighborhood where all the most of the hostages are from Farazan. Like Emily Damari was living there, Gali and Ziv Berman are there, Doron Steinberger. So I live there, and when October 7 happened, and those people I know them, they were like my neighbors. Um, they got they got kidnapped to Gaza. I was trying to do as much as possible. So I went to the States. I was trying to talk as much as possible about that, to explain to people, attending to events, to talk about the hostages and about the war. And basically, this is how I got in contact with Neil Book. Um, and I'm very, he was like, I like your story. Let's make something out of it. And he sponsored me for the race in Chicago, where I think people can see that on the car, not only the yellow ribbon, but I was like, bring them home. So I try to do as much as possible. And I think this is kind of like thing that is a bit different from everything I did in my life. For example, like I won races and championships, and I raced my whole career for kind of like for myself, not my own success. You want to be successful, you want to win races. But this time, I think the whole campaign here is have a different story, a different meaning for me. I'm not racing only for myself now. It's I feel like I'm carrying a nation. I'm here as a Jewish Israeli Zionist that have hostages, friends hostages. Um, so I'm trying to. I'm here on a different role.
Yeah. And then talk about your yellow ribbon that you not only we can clearly see you wearing it now, but also on your uniform and also what's on your car. Share that with our audience.
I mean, they're bringing them home. You mean the slogan?
Yeah.
There is a slogan of "Bring them home" that you need to understand. NASCAR, there is certain regulations what you can put on the car and what you cannot. Bring them home was kind of like a controversial slogan in the regulations, so they didn't let me drive with it. So we tried to think about what else can we put on the car, and and we came up with the idea of putting chai on the car. I mean, this is a nice way to to show my Zionism and everything. So I have like a giant chai on the hood of the car, which is kind of like cool. I mean, a lot of people ask me, well, what is that? I mean, it looks like a Chinese tattoo, but it's like, what is that? So it's nice to explain people what the whole the whole thing, the whole journey, the whole, the story behind that word and what I'm actually doing here.
Yeah, and then you're also wearing the yellow ribbon very prominently on your uniform.
Yeah, it's like attached. Like it's part of the, like one of the sponsors is the yellow ribbon.
Right. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm just really wondering, what is generally the response that you're getting from the community of being an Israeli, and especially in this moment that we're living in right now?
From which community?
The racing community.
I think it's kind of like divided. Um, the racing community here, at least in North Carolina, I need to explain, right? North Carolina is the base of NASCAR. Like all the racing teams are based here in North Carolina, more specifically in Mooresville. Um, and the atmosphere here, when I'm talking with people and they know that I'm Israeli, I have to say, they're very pro-Israeli and very supportive. I never felt anyone going, against my story or something like that. First of all, they're asking questions, and this is something that I very appreciate, because a lot of times the most stupid things I heard about Israel or about the war is from people that never ask questions,
Mhm.
and they are just uneducated to know what's going on. And it's like I will never comment on something on problems that America have because I'm not American. I don't live here. And this is the same what I would expect from other people. You cannot comment on something in the Middle East if you've never been there, or you don't, or at least you don't know the history
Mhm.
about the Middle East. So I'm very appreciate the fact that people asking me, like, "Hey, are you in the military? What exactly? How is it going on? Like, what's going on?" And they're all super supportive. On the other hand, when I went out of North Carolina, for example, to race in Chicago last year, then it was was a different story. I felt a lot of hostile and like people didn't really, not always like the fact that I'm Israeli. During the race, they had a protest. Um, People tried to climb over the fence to the racetrack. I mean, which is like, kind of like suicidal move.
Yeah.
It's insane. In the last race a week ago, I finished second, which is something I led the race. I finished second. It was a very successful race for me.
Where was it?
And in Lime Rock, Connecticut. It was a very, very good race, but the moments after that, like it happened during the race. Apparently, someone hacked my phone and sending messages in Arabic through everybody in my WhatsApp during the race. I'm not even with my phone. My phone is like in a bag. I'm racing. I'm leading the race, and apparently, I guess people didn't like the fact that I'm leading the race. So they hacked my phone, sending some messages about like about Iran and the fact that the American didn't whatever like bombed, like, damaged the nuclear in Fordo, something really weird. But anyway, I mean this is all kind of things that I'm dealing with.
Did you ever find out who did the hacking?
No, no,
And then how
no.
do you?
But it's also like gives me like kind of like a strange feeling. Suddenly I was like, I'm not that safe anymore. I need to look left and right to know, look behind me to know what's going on.
And how are you able to focus then while all this is going on?
It happened after, like, I found it after the race.
And the protests as well in Chicago?
Yeah, it didn't really. I mean, those kind of things like the protest and everything is kind of like motivated me, to be honest. I feel like, and I said it many times. I feel safer in Israel than I feel here. When I was in Chicago, I felt like unsafe. Like I had to, I go in with the high necklace and everything, and I felt like I need to hide it for the first time in my life. I mean, I feel like unsafe. And this is a strange feeling. I live in Ashdod, I'm getting rockets almost every day, and suddenly here it was like, whoa, you are not safe anymore. Um,
It's so sad to hear. And as my regular listeners know, that's my hometown. And we feel the same thing here in New York. But many people choose to hide their identity because they're simply, concerned about their physical safety. And that's the world
yeah,
we're living in right now. And it's really sad.
man, it's sad. But on the other hand, I feel like this is kind of the thing that motivated me.
Yeah.
I feel like as the Jewish community, we need to fight against it. We need to be vocal. We need to fight. We don't need to like hide those identity. I cannot hide the fact that I'm Israeli and I'm Jewish. I mean, I cannot. It's just impossible. And I would never do that. It is what it is, and I choose to fight. And I feel that every Jewish American need to fight this war. I mean, this is war is actually bigger than what we're going through in Israel.
Right.
This is like war against anti-Semitism. This is actually a harder war by far.
And I like what you said is that those protesters only gave you more spirit and more resolve to move on. And I think many people have that sentiment as well when they see what's going on around them. So I thank you for sharing that, truly. So let's talk then about just racing in Israel. I believe there's a track in Arad, if I'm not mistaken. And so, talk a little bit about what racing is like in Israel. Is it even popular? Whether people like you want to become race car drivers? Do little kids aspire to that? Or do Israelis even enjoy watching, say, for example, NASCAR?
First of all, when I started 2002, racing was kind of like illegal. We didn't have any kind of motorsport in Israel beside go-karts. Go-karts was the only kind of like legal thing. So I started in a different times. But now we have motorsports, and it is actually growing. And I feel like there are so many motorsport, like the motorsports community in Israel is pretty big. And in a matter of like couple of years, we don't have only one racetrack. We actually have three: one in Beersheba, one in Arad, and one in Pasel, which is in the Jordan Valley, I think you call it. Um, so we have three racetrack. Pretty good actually. So this is just telling you how big the racing community in Israel is. In a couple of years, already three racetracks, which is it's a big thing. And I think since I raced in NASCAR and I gained kind of like success in NASCAR, a lot of people start watching NASCAR. You have to understand NASCAR is a very American thing.
Yes.
It's like watching football, American football.
American
It's an
football.
American thing. You won't see like I don't know somebody in Germany watching football.
Mhm.
Probably gonna football for him is like soccer. Um, so it's the same. But still, people started watching NASCAR because I'm racing in NASCAR, which is a nice thing. I mean, the sports channel started broadcasting my races, NASCAR, which is also it's pretty cool. So I feel that I'm happy to be the kind of like the first guy. I was the first guy to get the permission from the military to be an athlete, a professional athlete in motorsports. We never had that before. I was the first guy, and I feel like a lot of people, a lot of young athletes after me get the same thing because I opened the door. So it's very nice to see it, and I hope that more people in Israel at least will, come and racing, even in NASCAR.
I'm curious, Alon, at the end of the day, what is the big attraction for you when it comes to motorsports? For you as the athlete, as the sportsman, and then what do you think is the allure, the thrill, the excitement for the fans?
Um, Obviously it's motorsports, it's speed. I mean, we love speed. I love to go fast. Um, and more than that, I mean, personally, I can tell about myself that I'm not a car guy. People like,
You're not a car
what?
guy.
I'm not a car guy. Every time I say that, people are like, wait. What's going on? No, I'm not. I'm a competition guy. I would I would race everything. If I wouldn't race cars, I would race on camels. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I would race everything. And I just love the competition itself. I think this is the thing that gives me the drive to, to move on and to win races. And I guess for the fans, I mean, it's also it's divided. People love the competition. They love to see like good, what we call dogfight against on the racetrack. Um, and some of them love to see speed. When you hear the engine roar, it gives you kind of like goosebumps. For me at least.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's competition and it's speed, and
Yeah.
those things merged together are what make motorsport so exciting,
Yes, for sure.
right? It's
For sure.
also very international in a way. I mean, other motorsports, right? And it's something that the whole world can kind of get behind. What then makes a good race car driver?
Well, uh, I think it's a combination. I cannot put my finger on one thing and say, oh, this one. It's a combination of many things that needs to kind of like works in harmony. You need to have like a good coordination, good reaction time. Um, you know, Fitness. A lot of people think like, hey, you just sit in a car and turn left and right. I mean, how difficult can it be? People don't understand that my heart rate inside uh, during a race going up to 200, 190, 195, 200. And the record I have is 204. And I'm driving with like, I'm taking the measurements, and there are a lot of people involved in your fitness. So there is, to be on a high level, you really need to work out every day. Otherwise, you will not be able to race a race car. I mean, um, even when you drive the car, the inside the car is extremely hot. I don't know how it is in Fahrenheit, but it's go up to 50 degrees Celsius, which is like crazy hot. More than that, oh, it's showing here. And you can see here also on my helmet that there is like a specific tube here to connect um, AC, like
You have
air
AC in
inside
the
the helmet.
helmet. You have AC
Yeah,
in the helmet.
otherwise you will pass out. Like you won't able to you are not able to hold those kind of heats.
So the training that you do is because it is so hot in the car. Is that correct? And because your
It,
heartbeat is racing so quickly that you have to be fit. In other words, you
so
have to
it's
have a
very hot
strong
in the
heart.
car.
Yeah.
It's very hot in the car. It's very hard to even drive the car. Turning left and right in 200 miles or 160 miles an hour. It's very hard. It's not that difficult. Your mind is always on the limit. It's like you are using 100% of your mind to keep, because you're driving very quick, and you know that if you're going to make the smallest mistake, you're going to be in the wall. And I think this is kind of like the thing that caused the heart rate to go very, 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 very high. And then on top of that, you need to fight other people, and you are in the race, and there is the pressure of the race, and there are so many things around it. So that's the reason why.
It sounds to me then, Alon, it's a mental and a physical game.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so then how do you train for it? Like what sort of exercises are you doing or workouts?
So basically, the workout looks like every day. At least every day, I ran for something like 10 kilometers, either one day or every 2 days. Every day, I'm at the gym. You need to understand that the upper body needs to be very, very like strong, because in the end, the steering wheel is not as easy as a road car. I mean, it's very heavy. The tires are extremely wide, so it's very hard to turn them. Um, and also, I think the biggest thing, like a fighter pilot, like they're spending a lot of time on the simulator. I mean, now we have a very, very advanced simulators also for home use. Like people can actually go and buy top equipment and race like in their home house. And also professional simulators like the manufacturers have, which is like a huge facility. It looks kind of like similar to what fighter pilots simulators looks like.
You have them in Israel?
I have my own simulator, which is kind of like home, like top equipment, but still for the normal people. in my house. I mean, this is something that you need to understand. You need to spend at least 4 hours a day. This is my personal view, like what I think, at least 4 hours a day in order to be very good. Because in the end of the day, all right, it's a simulator. You are not really driving a car, but you're still moving your hands and you're moving your legs with the pedals, and you think the same way you would think in the car. So the brain is functioning exactly the same, and the neurons that shoot the electricity. I don't know how to explain that exactly, but they're working exactly the same how they're supposed to work in the car. And when you go in the car, you have on top of that you have the physical demand and the G-force. That's something that you cannot simulate.
And what's your diet like?
I think each driver is having a different diet, more specific to him. Um, I figure out that I would call it like keto diet. I'm not eating a lot of carbs at all during the day, on a normal day. Um, and right before the race, like 2 days before the race, I try to get carbs as much as possible, like eating pasta and things like that. There are a lot of supplements that I'm taking, vitamins and everything that I need to take before the race. You need to, again, you drive 200, 200, 205, 204 beats per minute. Your heart, you are like on the limit of the body. You try to, it's very hard to think when you are so stressed. So you do everything you can. It's the main thing is hydration also, which is something that I really put a lot of attention on. You must drink as much as possible, but if you drink too much and you have to go to the toilet during the race, I rather die. Like really, it's so hard to keep your mind straight when you need to.
And remind us, how long is an average race?
So the races here in America is go between 1.5 hours. It can go up to 2.5 hours. It really can be very long. Europe is more kind of like sprint races, so it's more like 30 hours, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes max. And you also have different types of racing. I raced also endurance races, which is like 24 hours. Few drivers, three
20.
drivers in the car doing shifts.
Okay.
So every 3 hours, one driver get out of the car, the other driver jump in, which is it's a different strategy, different philosophy of racing completely. But it can go up to 24 hours. You sleep 2 hours, you drive for 3 hours, you sleep 2 hours, you drive for 3 hours.
I would imagine that after any race, your adrenaline is just shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you sleep for like a day after. Also, you feel during the race, that's the most common thing is that if you have an accident during a race, you're so pumped, you don't feel anything. Like you just, let's go, let's go. It doesn't matter. Let's first gear, I'm coming back, all good. And every time, like a day after the race, I was like, what is this bruise I have on my back? What's going on here? And then oh yeah, I had an accident yesterday. And a lot of time because of the adrenaline, you don't feel anything. And the day after everything, like you calm down and you feel like you feel how tired you are, and those bruises from the car.
Do you have a ritual before you get in the car?
No, I don't have ritual. I don't have. I'm not really a superstitious guy. I don't like to talk about the race too much before the race, like expectation and things like that. I just listening to my music and talking on with my friends on the phone. That's all.
And listening to the IsraelCast podcast, of course.
Sure, of course. Yeah, it's my favorite one.
Absolutely. Okay.
Especially before the race, it gives me pump me.
Paid endorsement there. Well, listen, speaking of backers, though, we do want to give a proper shout out, though, to Neil Book. He's the chairman and CEO of Jet Support Services, Inc., JSSI. I see that on your shirt right now, you have their logo, and you've referenced him a couple of times in the conversation already. But is there anything in particular, or especially, you would like us to know about Neil and his just tremendous support for the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I think not even like you need to understand as an Israeli and a Jewish. I will go in a different way.
Sure.
motorsports, it's all about sponsorship. The drivers needs to bring sponsorship. This is how it works. I mean, this is probably one of the most unfair sports in the world because it's not like NBA, NFL, whatever. If you're good enough in college, you will, people, the teams will pick you.
Yeah.
No, here you actually need to bring the sponsor, to find a sponsor and bring them. And as an Israeli, Zionist Jewish guy, it is almost impossible to find sponsors. I mean, even it doesn't matter how good I am, and I won 4 European championships in NASCAR. I'm good enough to show what I'm like. I'm good enough. And every time I went through to companies and asked for sponsorship, it's like, you're very good, we like you, you have a good attitude, but we just don't want to be related with Israel because many things. The war, it's a controversial thing. We just don't. We prefer not. We prefer to take an American driver. We prefer to take a German driver. And every time that was that barrier that I couldn't pass. And for the first time when I met Neil, it was the first guy ever to let's go. I mean, I like the fact that you're Israeli. I like the fact that you're Jewish. He's obviously is Jewish too. Um, and he helped me, and that he was the first company that gave me full support of everything I need. And this is something that I cannot express in words how much I appreciate. Because for the first time, I have like a real sponsor that support me, and I don't like again I don't need to beg to people to bring me money to racing, and then they said, no, you're Israeli. This is kind of like the anti-Semitism that I felt a lot of times. Like, hey, why the fact that I'm Israeli? I mean, it's a sports. Why do you are involving my nationality? I mean, I'm good enough. Why can't you sponsor me? So Neil Book really was the first guy that was like all in with me, and I super appreciate that. And I think he's doing a lot, not only in for me in the sports. I mean, for many other things related to Israel. Like he's helping wounded soldiers, and he has his own foundation helping Israelis and people in Israel. I mean, this guy is awesome. I mean, the things he did for me is something that I will thankful forever.
Kol hakavod to Neil, truly. We want to
Yeah,
give him a
for
shout
sure.
out and really thank him for really realizing not only your dream, but also the dream of Israel in putting a race car driver on the global map.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, it's a funny thing that a lot of time after the race, I'm getting like 1,000 messages on social media from people, random Jewish people around America, and they're like, "Hey, I never watched NASCAR, but now I watch it because there is an Israeli guy, because there is a Jewish guy." And I feel this is what when we started the conversation, I told you, I feel like I'm carrying the whole nation with me. This makes me proud. Every time somebody, a Jewish guy, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it's like, hey, we support you. I never watched NASCAR, but now I'm into it because of you. It's kind of like gives me a cool feeling. And many people also said like, hey, tell your sponsor we support your sponsor. Doesn't matter like. Whoever supports you, we support him, and I feel this is like kind of the beautiful thing about the Jewish community here that it doesn't matter what we are going through, we are always kind of like staying together, and you know we're united as much as possible.
Am echad v'guf echad.
That's true.
Right. When it comes to other motorsports athletes in Israel, though, Guy Albag is also part of your coterie, shall we say? He's in your cohort, if you will. His sister, Liri Albag, the hostage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know Guy since he's still a kid. I know him for a long time since he was a kid. He's 17 now. He's racing in the Formula 4 in Europe, in the British Championship, in the European Championship. He's doing a lot of things. And I have to say, this guy went through, wow. I mean, what this guy went through is just amazing. I mean, like his sister was hostage in Gaza, and Guy managed to, with all of that, win being vice world champion in go-karts. I mean, this I cannot even express in words how big the achievement it is. I mean, I spent time with him and his father, Eli Elbag. Together, we went in Valencia to kind of like the motorsports games, it's called. So I had the opportunity to spend like a week with them, and when she was still in Gaza, and you can see that they are kind of like divided, and he still managed to like. It doesn't matter. I mean, he still managed to like perform with all of that. He still perform and doing such a great job. I mean, this is something that show his real mentality, and I really hope this kid will have a bright. I'm sure that this kid have a bright future, and definitely his mind is something that is incredible. And I'm so happy for him and for his family that Leary is home. I mean, this is we, this is more. Let's be honest. This is
Yeah,
more important than anything. This is more important than any trophy. It doesn't really matter what trophy you have.
absolutely.
I mean, I'm so happy for him that his sister home, and we still need to remember that we have a lot of hostages right now in Gaza, and hopefully we will have the deal soon. And everybody,
Yeah.
they deserve to be home.
Let's hope that by the time this episode's released, everyone is
I
home,
hope.
safe and sound. Amen. Amen. Well, listen, as we
Amen.
begin to wind down our conversation, what kind of car do you drive at home in Ashdod?
Uh, Kia Stonic.
Okay.
It's a small SUV. I have to say, um, I'm not a car guy. I said
That's
it.
what you
I
said. You're
said it.
not a
Actually,
car
I
guy,
said
but
it.
listen, I had to ask the question.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a car guy. I don't drive fast. I think because I'm driving very fast on racetrack, and I think that's a good thing about motorsports.
Mm.
You get the opportunity to drive very, very fast on a racetrack. When you get when you go on a normal road car, you don't need to drive fast. You don't feel the need for speed. I mean, you drive 60, 70 miles an hour and you feel like, all right, that's good. I mean, as long as the car takes me from point A to point B, I'm fine with that. And also on racetrack, I mean, when you become a professional race car driver or even an amateur driver, you realize what is the danger on a racetrack and how fast things can go wrong. And then you realize also on a road, on a public road, hey, a lot of things can go wrong here. It's not in the racetrack, everybody go the same way, everybody's professional, they all know what to do, it's very safe. Here, nobody can guarantee that somebody will not drunk driver will cross the red lights and crash into me, or a kid will jump on the street. And I think motorsports give you the kind of like the idea about more aware of danger on the public road, and makes you a safer driver, actually.
I think it's a really important point. I know for me personally, I have not been behind the wheel of a car in almost 7 years. And just by
Why is that?
virtue of, well, because I live here in New York City and I don't have
Okay,
a
I get
car
it.
and I don't need a car. And so there you go. Um, but I have a license and I know how to drive. My license is still valid. I actually have to get it renewed by my birthday in September
If
this
you
year.
need help with that, somebody to
Yeah, well,
refresh.
yeah, if I need sort of a refresher in terms of how to get behind the wheel of a car, I know to call Alon. I've got your number. Well, because the thing is that, but I've always been afraid of driving really, really quickly. I'm not one of those people that drives, just at 20 miles an hour on the highway. I'll go at the speed, but when it comes to driving, 80, 90 miles an hour, which I know some people do, forget it. I mean, I think my max has probably been 70. 65, let's say, is 65, 70. And I think I'll call it quits after that because I just think it's simply too dangerous. It makes me very uncomfortable. And certainly,
Yeah,
if I have a passenger, I don't want to put them in jeopardy. You're absolutely right. I think those people that do watch motorsports should realize that anything can go wrong on a proper professional track. Yet, imagine what can go wrong
it's
just out on the
multiply
streets.
10
Uh,
times.
Absolutely. And especially in a place like New York City, where sometimes you see people, dare I say, drag racing down Broadway here, a block from where I live. And it's absolutely insane. Well, one or two more questions, just really, really briefly, because I know you got a dash. Favorite race? Is there one that's a standout for you, Alon?
Um, Actually, no, I don't have a favorite race or racetrack also.
Yeah.
I just, as I said, the competition is the main thing. It doesn't really matter for me where I race.
Mhm.
Um, no, I don't have a particular racetrack that I'm like, or a race that I'm like, hey, I like this race. I have racetracks that have more success because for some reason the racetrack is more suiting my driving style. But I don't, there is nothing, something that I really like.
I don't have a question in particular, but if you can just kind of comment because you're 33 years old, and as I understand it, you can still be a race car driver in your 50s and 60s, right? And even probably beyond. So this is like a career, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I many time I compare it to fighter pilots. In Israel, also a fighter pilot can go up to 52, and the most complicated attacks and complicated missions are the more experienced one pilots doing. It's kind of the same also with motor racing. The more you go and getting older, the more experience you gain. But on the other hand, your reaction time and your abilities are going lower. It's kind of like balanced. So your experience is going up, the reaction time is going down. But experience is a major thing. Um, and in the end of the day, this is the things that actually win races.
And what would you like to, as we really wind down? I've got so many more questions, but like I say, I know you got a dash.
No, I told you I have the whole
But
day for you.
right. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, Alon. That's very kind of you. What do you hope for Israel motor racing to look like, let's say, over the next decade?
Again, I think the Israeli motorsports is going the right way. We are getting more and more championships, but I would really love to see in the next decade like a proper international races coming to Israel. And this is the, kind of like tells you, all right, we are a motorsports country. Um, Once an international championship, it can be a World GT Championship, a Formula One, it can be many things, international championships that arriving to Israel and race in Israel regularly every year, then this is a big step forward for the Israeli motorsports. And I think that will bring a lot of people into that. And I think, like I said, I hope to see much like many more people um, getting involved in motorsports,
Mhm.
even as an amateurs. Go pay, you know what? Pay $50, pay $100. You have those track days, what we call. Also, I recommended it for people here in America. Every racetrack usually have a kind of like a track day. You go with your private car, you pay a couple bucks, you go into the racetrack, you drive as fast as you want in a safe environment. And I rather people, go spend that money and drive fast as you want on a racetrack, and don't do that on a public road. And this is something that I recommend to everybody. Everybody, it doesn't matter, like everybody, young new drivers or older drivers. It doesn't matter. You have the opportunity, and people a lot of times like, really, I can just pay money and go into the racetrack. Yes, you can. You just need to find the right dates. Every track have it. Just enjoy.
And get it out of their system.
Yeah. And
Get
and then you don't have that need for speed to, and you go out on a public road and you drive 100 miles an hour or more than that, and you're
yeah. When
putting
people,
everybody in risk.
Alon, when people start speeding in their daily life, right, when they're just going from point A to point B, I always say to myself, it's better that you get there 5 minutes late than you don't get there at all.
At all. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Or more than that, you know what, you will get there. But like what happen every time I think about what happened if I will make a mistake and I will by mistake, kill somebody. How I will have to live with that my whole life.
Right.
So this is something that I cannot get out of my mind. And this is one of the reasons why I think motorsport is such a good gives you like a good perspective.
Indeed. Well, listen, the next time I'm in Israel, if you are there, How about I
I
get
will
the
take you to the racetrack.
please, I'll get in the passenger seat and you go as fast as you want.
No, you're gonna drive.
Oh my
You're
God,
gonna
I'm going to
drive.
drive.
7 years,
Uh-oh.
come on. The first time it's supposed to be in a racetrack.
All right. All right. But and then you'll be in the passenger seat. How's
I
that?
will.
All right,
I
it's a
will.
deal. It's a deal, and our audience has
I'm waiting
has
for
heard us
that.
that we've made that commitment. And on that note, we're going to leave it right there. Alon Day, this has been just such a pleasure. We wish you absolutely every success in all of
Thank you
your
very much.
races and in life and with your growing beautiful family. We just want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of IsraelCast.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It's a great honor.
Oh, the honor is ours. And you know what, Alon, we'll have info about you on the show notes page of this episode on our website, jnf.org/IsraelCast, so more folks can learn all about you. And, of course, we do release new episodes of the show every other Wednesday. I don't know why anyone would ever want to miss an episode. And just so you don't miss an episode, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Simply search for IsraelCast. Don't forget to rate and review us because that really helps with our rankings, which in turn make it easier for more folks around the world to find us and to hear from remarkable people like Alon Day. And you can always enjoy the show also by visiting us at our website. Once again, it's jnf.org/IsraelCast. We're on YouTube also. So search for IsraelCast on YouTube as well. You can see us in live and in living color because we are real people. We're more than just voices. All right. And also, we do have to thank our mini Moshav, as I call them, the people behind the scenes that make IsraelCast possible. And of course, I'm talking about Vivian Grossman and Stefan Oberman. And a big shout out goes to Jay Rothman, our fabulous editor. Now, the music that you hear at the top until the program is titled My Eden. It's by the very talented Rafi Malkiel from his album Water on the Tzaddik label. IsraelCast is powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. For more info about JNF USA, do visit jnf.org. And if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say hello, I know Alon would love to hear from you, wouldn't you, Alon?
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right. And I'd love to hear from you as well. So do email us at IsraelCast@jnf.org. After all these years, hope you got it, IsraelCast@jnf.org. Meantime, I'm Stephen Shalowitz. Thank you for tuning in and looking forward to having you join us on future episodes of IsraelCast.